Legend has it that the Hookman, I'm sure everybody's heard of the Hookman. A lot of people, at least in northern Kentucky, probably all over the country, really. It's just an old fable that people have told over the years. It goes something like this: a teenage boy supposedly drove his date to a dark and deserted lovers' lane, such as Taboo Park, where many of us spent many nights. Yeah, for a makeout session, we all used to go up there and park and kind of just make out. But anyway, after turning on the radio for mood music, he leaned over and began kissing his girlfriend. A short while later, the music suddenly stopped and an announcer voice came on, warning of an urgent tone that a convicted murderer had just escaped from a state insane asylum. Imagine that. Which happened to be located not far from Lover's Lane. And anyone who noticed a strange man lurking about with a hook in place on his right hand should immediately report his whereabouts to the police. And the legend goes on to say that the girl became frightened and asked to be taken home. The boy, feeling bold, locked all the doors instead, and ensuring his date they would be safe, attempted to kiss her again. She became frantic and pushed him away, insisting that they leave. Relenting, the boy jerked the car into gear and spun its wheels as he pulled out of the parking space. And when they arrived at the girl's house, she got out of the car and, reaching to close the door, began to scream. The boy ran to her side to see what was wrong, and there, dangling from the door handle, was a bloody hook. Well, now we get to my story of the Hookman. That's the urban legend that's going around. Now we get to the story of my Hookman. I was with a girl, I said Sandy Mullins. If anybody knows her, I have no idea where she's at today. She'd probably get a kick out of this if she ever heard it. But Sandy and I were up to Taboo Park. And if you know where the museum is, and the road that goes back to the children's home, just before you go back that road, there's a road off to the left that used to go down to Ludlow. I don't know if it still does. I don't know if it's still open or if it's blocked off, but I used to go down that road because it was real dark. Very few cars came up it, and if they did, I could pull off. There was a parking place I could pull off the side of the road far enough for these cars to get by. Well, anyway, Sandy and I went up there one night, and we did exactly as the urban legend said. We were sitting in the car, and I had WSAI on the radio and listened to oldies, and I, of course, slid over the seat because we didn't have bucket seats then. We had straight seats, and I slid over, put my arm around her, and we started making out. Had the windows down because it was hot. Outside as well as inside, I might add. A little chuckle there. But anyway, Sandy all of a sudden pushed me away and she said, "Gary, did you hear that?" And I said, "No, I didn't hear anything." As best I can remember anyway, I probably said, "No, I didn't hear anything." She said, "Listen." I thought for a minute and I probably said, "Okay." So I do remember hanging my head out the window. I said, "Well, I'll stick my head out the window." And I thought I heard what was sounded like footsteps coming up this road. And I thought, man, this is strange. Somebody walking up this road, and I'm not kidding you. Immediately, my mind, I started thinking about the Hookman story, and so I stuck my head back. I pulled my head back in the car, and I turned on the headlights. I pulled the switch and turned on the headlights, and there was two big guys walking up this road. Had long pants on, no shirts. Kind of hot, kind of sweaty. You could see the sweat beading on them. You could tell they were covered in sweat. and Sandy says, "Oh," she started hitting the panic button. And I have to admit, I kind of did too. So I quickly rolled up the windows And one guy, when they approached the front of the car, one guy peeled off to the right and the other one to the left. And I immediately, I said, well, they don't have any hooks, to myself, and I'm laughing, you know. I said, well, they don't have a hook hand, so what's this all about? So, like I said, one of them goes up to Sandy's window and one comes up to my window. And so I thought, well, I'm stuck. So I kind of rolled down the window just a little bit, just enough to where the guy could hear what I said. And I said, is there a problem? And he said, yeah. He says, hi. And then all of a sudden I realized everything was okay. He says, hey, how you doing? He says, we heard car doors shutting. And there's a lot of wrecks on this road, and we thought maybe somebody was in an accident. So he said, my son and I came up to check on you. And I said, I'll be darned. I said, okay. I said, no, I said, we're fine. And so Sandy, she kind of breathed a sigh of relief. And so the guy said, well, hey, be careful and have fun and take it easy and all that stuff. So they walked away, and I told Sandy, I said, did that scare you? And she said, yeah, it scared me. And I said, well, I got to admit, I said, it kind of scared me a little because I thought, you know, these two guys coming up this road, and here I am with this young girl, and I'm a young guy myself, and I thought, oh man, they're going to knock me in the head and drag her out of the car, and I got, you know, oh man, all kinds of thoughts ran through my mind. So anyway, that's the story of my encounter with the hook man. I hope you enjoyed that little story.